Well, now would you look at that? I die, I rest a spell. And I return to find the Republic gone half-mad and wholly mean. But where are my manners? I am Samuel Langhorne Clemens, author, humorist, riverboat pilot, occasional heretic, and today, an unwilling witness to a farce so large it makes the Gilded Age look like Sunday school. I come to you from beyond the veil, not to haunt you, but to warn you. Let me tell you a thing or two about religion. I've seen it soften hearts, clothe the naked, and keep a man from strangling his neighbor over a fence line. But I've also seen it used to fleece the flock and stone the Samaritan. And now, it's become a pageant act. A painted idol held aloft by men who couldn't name the Beatitudes if they were branded on their backside. They call it Christian Nationalism. But it ain't Christ, and it ain't a nation I'd want to live in. Man is a religious animal. He's the only religious animal. He's the only animal that has the true religion. Several of them. That wasn't a compliment. Now I've known my share of hucksters. But never have I seen a man peddle more poison in one lifetime and call it patriotism. He hugs the Bible like a man hugs his lawyer before a long prison sentence. Sells it on the same website as his sneakers and cologne. And his followers? Why, they cheer like he's Moses come down from the mountain. When all he's really got is a golden toilet and a court summons. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence. And then success is sure. Well, he's got both in spades. Now I hear folks say we need more religion in politics. Well, friend, you might as well say we need more whiskey and gunpowder. When you mix power with piety, you don't get holiness. You get mob rule and a choir robe. In religion and politics, people's beliefs are gotten at second hand and without examination. Which is a polite way of saying most folks would rather be told what to think than risk thinking for themselves. The faces change, the fools repeat, the danger always returns dressed as deliverance. And I do pity the fooled, I always have. But the men who profit from the fooling, they're the ones that make my blood boil. You want real patriotism? It ain't in wrapping yourself in a flag and shouting down your neighbor. It's in thinking, questioning, standing up when it's easier to sit down and shut up. They fear books more than bullets, because one can open a mind, and the other only ends it. Patriotism is supporting your country all the time, and your government when it deserves it. If your idea of virtue is blind loyalty to a man who'd sell the country for a compliment and a snack, you don't need a sermon. You need a spine. Civic virtue means loving your country enough to criticize it, and loving your fellow man enough to tell him when he's been duped. Back in my day, the swindlers sold snake oil. Today, they sell so-called big, beautiful bills and tweet about it. They've made a messiah out of a man who wouldn't know the Sermon on the Mount from a casino receipt, and they call that faith. But let me say this plain. You can't serve both truth and Trump. One will demand your conscience, the other your obedience. And if you still have a conscience, God help you use it while it's still legal. It is easier to fool people than to convince them they have been fooled. If you made it this far, then maybe your mind ain't for sale, and that's no small thing. This has been a Renaissance spirit production, and if your conscience aches after all this, good. That ache is where your soul begins. If something in this stirred you, share it with a friend, reflect on it, wrestle with it. Not because I said it, but because you did. And if the Republic still has a future, it'll be written by those who aren't afraid to think. Until next time, stay curious. Stay principled, and beware of prophets who ride golden elevators.
Well, I rose from the river with smoke in my hair. This world wore a mask and pretended to care. They shouted of freedom with tongues full of greed, and prayed to a flag while ignoring the need. You can't serve both truth and Trump, that's clear. One builds a soul, the other sells a veneer. One calls you up, the other drags down. Truth don't wear gold, but it sure wears a crown. No, you can't serve both truth and Trump, my friend, and I reckon know which one wins any band. Now, if that stirred a little ache in your chest, good. That's where your soul's been sleeping.